Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Macca here with a unicorn of a video. We are doing an easy game that is also free, and that game is Space Jam: A New Legacy, the game, which from July 1st to July 15th is available if you have Game Pass Ultimate. Just go to the Game Pass app, find the Perks tab, and you should be able to download it straight off of this screen right here. But starting from July 15th and after, you'll be able to just download it regularly off the store without needing Game Pass. Just click on it, redeem the code, and you should be good to go, and you can launch straight into the game. Now, you may be wondering how long and how difficult this game is, and I think with all of the tips and tricks I give you in this video, you can get it done in about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, as there is a little bit of skill involved, and your time will be made significantly easier if you have a second controller. A lot of the strategies I'm going to give you involve having a second controller, although you don't actually need a second person to play the game with. Now, from the beginning, we are going to launch straight into the game, and I'm going to go to options, and then I'm going to go to controls. Look through these and learn them. There are some controls that are not immediately obvious. Press X to attack. You can pick up the ball with X. You can hold X to charge the ball and then throw it. Release X to throw the ball. The more it's charged, the more damage it does. Now, you can summon the ball by holding B. This is really important and not immediately obvious, as there really isn't much of a tutorial in this game. You can do an area attack, which is A and X at the same time, but watch out, this does drain your health, which makes it a lot easier to die. You can run by double tapping in any direction. You can do a dash attack as well. You can jump and double jump, and you can also hold X to charge the ball, jump, and then press X to do a bit of a ground slam. And you can press Y to use the Space Jam card, which is pretty useful. I'll explain that in a bit. And you can press B to pass the ball in multiplayer. And you can also juggle enemies for extra damage. We will now get started. Now, the first thing we want to do is go to press play game, go to original mode, and we're going to be going for a bunch of achievements. You should get 350 GAMERSCORE just for beating the game. Additionally, we're going to be going for, I'm going to show you how to juggle an enemy 5 times. I'm going to show you how to easily get 999 points. And I'm also going to show you how to complete the game without continuing in a really easy way. So I'm just going to select LeBron as my player 1, but I am going to load a secondary controller right now. I'm going to turn it on and press A to join. Player 2 will be Bugs Bunny. And then you will be able to select a card, and the best card in the game, in my opinion, is the Grandma card, which basically allows you to regenerate health, which is important since we're trying not to use a continue at all. Then we can load up into the game, and we can skip through all this dialogue by just tapping A through it, and we should get thrown right into the game here. We'll unlock an achievement here for teamwork for playing in multiplayer. Now, as soon as you kind of spawn in, you're going to be attacked by some enemies right away. Just practice a little bit of your combat. Tapping X is extremely effective, and then running back and forth from left to right and dashing or jump kicking is also a really good strategy. Just try to make sure you are not getting hit from behind. Also, make sure you charge up that ball, give it a toss, and that does a lot of damage without putting yourself in danger. So in the video, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, but just complete this fight until the next little level. You will then reach this room where I just recommend you walk forward and beat it up. You can use both controllers if you want. You can actually play with a friend, which will make this easier, or you can actually just double hand it yourself pretty easily as well. Just bash on through the wall after this first level to make it to the next part of the map. You'll get points as you go. Don't really worry about the points all that much. I'll show you an easy way to get 999 at the end of the game. We'll be able to boost it in the final boss battle without really taking many risks at all. Now, as soon as you are able to, just pass the ball back and forth by pressing B. We're going to do this a total of 30 times. You will have to press B on your other controller to pass it back to yourself. I don't believe this game has online multiplayer, if you are wondering. After 30 passes, you will get the passing game achievement. Another thing to notice is that passing the ball back and forth is a really quick and easy way to recharge your Space Jam card at the top of the screen. So the Space Jam cards are located at the top of the screen next to the health bar, and you can activate them by pressing Y. And in my case here, we'll be getting health. And you can see that I can regenerate LeBron's health, and then I can also regenerate Bugs Bunny's health by doing this. Now, the reason we're using 2 controllers is basically so that we don't ever have to hit continue. As long as one of your characters is up, even when you do lose all of your life, you can basically just restart and come back in as long as one of the players is always alive. So that's kind of the method here. If you are really, really low on health with one of the players, it might actually be beneficial for you to die on purpose so that you can get that player to respawn back with full health, and then you just kind of do that. Just make sure you don't run out of health on both of your characters at the same time. If you do have a third controller and you really want to be safe, you can actually plug that controller in as well and have 3 characters up at the same time. Now, I'm not going to walk you through every little battle, as that would not really be helpful for anyone in my opinion. There is a couple of achievements you want to look out for on the way. First, you'll want to hit 3 enemies with a single charged ball. If you do this, an achievement will unlock. The next thing we want to focus on is whenever the prime enemy spawns. The first one will spawn once you pick up this floppy disk right here, and this is the enemy that we're going to try to juggle a total of 5 times. Now, what we want to do in order to juggle this enemy is do a jump, then a kick, which will bring them up into the air, and then you're going to use X to attack them and juggle them. You will have to move forward so that you are under them every time so that the punches continue the chain. Juggle at least 5 times in order to unlock the achievement. Don't worry if you don't get it on your first try, this enemy will spawn a few more times throughout the game. Now, in this next clip, I just want to show you a quick idea of why we're using 2 controllers. You'll see that Bugs Bunny is going to die completely here, and I'm actually pretty low health on LeBron, but luckily I'm able to use my health. And then once Bugs Bunny dies, I can basically just respawn him infinitely, and I don't ever have to worry about getting a continue. At this point in the video, I'm pretty much going to skip to the final boss battle. You're free to experience and enjoy the game on your own. There will be some boss battles, which I will show at the end of the video, as there is a boss rush mode. But otherwise, you're trying to make it all the way to the final boss battle, making sure you don't lose all of your lives on both characters at the same time. Now, during the boss battle is where the best opportunity to grind out points to reach 999,999 is. And what you want to do is once you reach this phase of the boss battle, where you have to use a charged ball to destroy the floppy disk, instead, you want to pick up the ball, move to the left, give it a light toss, and then continue to juggle it in order to gain points. The longer you juggle it, the more times you juggle it, the more points you'll get. Now, you will get 100,000 points for actually defeating the boss, so you don't need to go all the way to 999,999. But just for the purposes of this video, I will do so, and as soon as you cross that threshold, the achievement will unlock. Now, all we need to do for this first playthrough is now beat the final boss battle and make sure that you still haven't used any continues. If for whatever reason you have used a continue, it's okay, just finish the game and you might be able to get it on the hard difficulty, or you can just try again with a friend or something like that. But just get through the boss battle and feel free to even plug in 3 controllers. The only thing is, with more controllers, the bosses have more health, so they take a little bit longer to defeat. If you are able to beat the game and you are able to beat it without any continues, you should unlock another 2 achievements. Additionally, as you're playing through the game, you'll be unlocking Space Jam cards. I'll talk a little bit about those later, but just keep those in mind. Now, that first playthrough might have taken you around 40 or 50 minutes, and we will need to do a second playthrough, and this one will need to be on the hard difficulty. So from the main menu, select New Game and then select Hard, and I'm going to be using that same strategy of having a second controller just idle there, just so that I can take more hits and not have to worry about losing lives and having to play with continues. It's pretty easy in my opinion. There's just a few more enemies that you will have to take care of during bosses and just randomly. So it can be a little bit harder, but after the end of the hard playthrough, you will unlock another Space Jam card and you will unlock the achievement for beating it on hard. We are almost done with this game. Now, one of the final steps here is to complete the boss rush mode. So select that mode and we're gonna have to face all 3 of the bosses at once with only 1 life. I'll be playing as LeBron, although it doesn't matter who you select, and I will be getting extra health, which I believe is by far the best strategy. We'll have to defeat all 3 bosses with only 1 life. So the first 2 are really easy and the last one can be a little hard, but hopefully these tips and tricks will help you. For the brow, all you want to do is stay as far away as possible. When he's flying from left to right, you want to make sure that you are either up or down so that he can't really hit you. And then when he's on the ground, you just want to be hitting him with fully charged ball shots. So either pick up the ball or summon it using the B button, and you can pretty easily take him out. It's okay if he hits you once or twice, as long as he doesn't do like a third of your health, you should be a-okay. And we can then move on to White Mamba. The White Mamba boss battle isn't all that different from the brow. We are going to be using the ball for the majority of the damage, and the important part here is to interrupt the attacks as they are happening. So as they're about to either summon the falling rocks, or they're about to spin their tail, or if they're kind of working their way around the map, you're going to be using charged ball shots or jump kicks in order to interrupt their attacks. And you should be able to quite easily keep your distance and do enough damage to end the boss battle pretty quick. You want at least 2/3 of your health for the final boss though. Now for this final boss battle, you will have to memorize quite a bit of the attacks. You really don't want to be taking any damage from the boss himself. He will be spawning a bunch of enemies, and those are going to be the only things that can really hurt us. As soon as he ground pounds, you're going to make sure to beat up those hands, and you will get enough of your Space Jam effect in order to summon health, but you won't be able to summon health until the first 2 out of the 3 waves of enemies. And personally, I wouldn't recommend summoning your health card until the 3rd wave of enemies. I'll show you exactly why, but if you summon your health a little early, it becomes way harder. For this fight, all you really want to do during these enemy phases is make sure that all of the enemies are either on your left or on your right. You want to make sure you don't get surrounded on both sides, and then you can get through the 1st and 2nd phase by doing this. Just again, make sure you don't get hit and try to carry as much health as you can with you. The more health you have, the easier it becomes, and I will show you why. At this point, the 2nd phase of enemies will start, and again, we're going to try to either be to the left or to the right of all of the enemies, and we're going to be ignoring the bomb enemy as much as possible and making sure not to take any damage from the bombs. The bombs will also damage the other enemies, which is extremely useful. You can see that instead of attacking everything, I'm more just dodging everything and letting some of the enemies calm down and relax, and doing damage when and where I can, and just making sure to keep as much health as possible. At this point during the fight is when my Space Jam effect card actually regenerates, so it's pretty useful, but I wouldn't recommend using it until the 3rd wave of enemies starts, because you generate more health than you can possibly pick up. It's actually advantageous to not drop the health card until the 3rd phase of enemies. So after you defeat all of the enemies here, you'll break the floppy disk and do another wave of attacks with the boss until you generate the 3rd wave of full-on enemies. Now here is where the 3rd and final wave of enemies will spawn, and by far this is the hardest part of the game. You're trying to get either to the far left or the far right, but once you are low on health, what I would personally recommend is triggering your Space Jam card, picking up a bunch of the health, and then using the area of effect attack, which will damage you, but does a lot of damage to the enemies, and you're able to hit all of them at once in order to really lighten up the field. So if you spawn your health and pick it up, and there's more health left over on the ground, you definitely want to use the area of attack to clear out enemies as quickly as possible. Watch out for the 2 flamethrower guys. Watch out for the prime. And here I was able to actually beat the game with full health in about 5 minutes. And as soon as you defeat boss rush mode, you will get a Space Jam card as well as the boss rush mode achievement. So congratulations, we still have a little bit more to go here, only a couple minutes. Now, the final achievement you should have left is for using all of the Space Jam cards. So as you can see, there are 8 cards here, and we need to use every effect 1 time. The best way to do this is just to load into a game and charge your card and then use it. And then immediately after you use it, if you die, you can select a different card. So just go through all 8 of the cards until the achievement unlocks. Another really useful strategy here is to join up with a second controller, and if you pass the ball back and forth, it will regenerate the card effect. So after this first little battle, you can just basically plug in a second controller, pass the ball back and forth, and then you will have to die in between card effects. But you can get through the card effects hopefully within about 10 minutes, and as soon as you have triggered all 8 of them, you will unlock that last achievement, and congratulations on your 1000 gamer score. If you found this video helpful, make sure you drop a like. Feel free to share the video with a friend. A super special thank you to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show. Shout out to Zarias and Puffy Vins, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Peace.